Cold Justice is a documentary reality program that takes audiences across the U.S. To solve some long dormant cold cases. I'm Zach Laws, contributing editor at Gold Derby, and joining me now are Kelly Siegler. She's a former prosecutor and the star of Cold Justice, as well as Liz Cook, one of the executive producers. Ladies, thank you both so much. Let me start off by asking you, you just finished up your 5th season of this show. What drives both of you to continue doing this year after year after year?
I think we both have a real appreciation for the fact that we are solving murder cases with local law and making a TV show and doing something that's never been done before.
Yeah, and it's rare. I'm from the reality producing side, and it's rare to get an opportunity to be on a show that you really feel like you're contributing to something. So yeah, it's a difficult show to produce, but it's really rewarding.
Really difficult to produce.
Yeah, it's really, really difficult.
Well, I may talk a bit about some of those difficulties of production.
Well, she won't tell you, but she probably wants to wring my neck half the time because I'm the former prosecutor who always wants to keep it very, very real. And we're never going to get in the way of local law, and we're always going to be all about the case. Liz has a whole lot of other considerations that we keep butting heads about all the time.
I have the TV side, and it is really difficult to argue with the prosecutor. So it's like the nightmare person to have as your talent because she's so smart. But it all works out.
Well, you guys just had a pretty high-profile arrest made as a result of one of your episodes. Mr. Jessie Hogue, who was arrested for murdering his wife, Jackie, back in 1994. Can you just talk a bit about the circumstances by which this was able to happen?
I will say that week was really special because it wasn't just him. We had 2 arrests that week. We had Idaho Falls, we had another person arrested, and then we have another one that's still on the line. So that was a banner week. It was a big week. But that
every time I think about that case, I just think about those kids. You know, Jackie's kids having to grow up without her and then losing their brother. And Jess, who was their stepdad, is the one who did it. And when you meet them, when you hear their story, when you go talk to all the people that knew Jackie, that case just breaks your heart.
Mm-hmm. And the Idaho Falls one as well. Can you tell us about that?
That one, that one was a little different because the suspect is actually already in jail for another crime. Right. So that's a little bit unusual, but
I would call that case the tale of a mother torn, because that mother had 2 sons, both of who were suspected of killing Stephanie, and she wanted to defend both of her babies, and she knew who did it, but she didn't want to admit it, but she was very righteous. You know, she always cooperated. She answered questions. She tried to do the right thing at the same time trying to protect her son. And in the end, justice happened. But that's real. That's what really happens with moms all over the country when their sons are charged with murder.
I bring these up because, I think that everybody would like to hope that their work and their art has some impact. And this is a case where, a television show can actually help bring some justice to people. So, for you, when arrests are made, when cases are solved as a result of your work on this show, for both of you, what does that mean for you?
It's wonderfully fulfilling, right?
Yeah, I never get, reality producers don't get that.
The whole crew.
The whole crew is very involved.
The whole crew high fives, and we celebrate when the right ending happens. And, every case that we work on, we go into it truly believing we're going to solve this case, or we wouldn't start up all the grief and all the pain that comes with that. So when an arrest happens, it's just a wonderfully fulfilling moment.
Mm-hmm.
And on the flip side, I don't mean depressing, but it is sad when you have to give bad news to the family.
It's terrible.
It's the hardest part of the show is when you have to give bad news to a family that you don't have answers, and the whole crew feels it.
Yeah.
And that way it's tough.
Right. Well, take us back to the beginning. And, Kelly, I'd love to know how you at first became involved in this and, why you wanted to stick with it for so long afterwards.
I was a prosecutor in Houston and Harris County for 21 years. I made the crazy decision to run for DA there and lost. So I found myself without a job. And I realized that for the last 10 years of my career there, all I did was work on cold cases. I get calls from cops all over Texas about their cold cases. So I knew how many there were out there that are just on the verge of being solved with a little bit of help. And after I lost my job, I hooked up with an agent from out here who set me up with a bunch of producers. And I would tell them all this idea about working on cold cases and making it a TV show. You can guess what all of their answers were, right? They all said, well, you can't promise a resolution. We're not interested. Then one night I got a call set up with Dick Wolf, thanks to this agent. And I told him this idea, and he said immediately, that's a great idea. Sign it up. Let's go. And because of who he is and his connection with the magical elves and all the people that he knows, that's why we're here today.
And Liz, at what point did you become involved? And what made you want to be an executive producer on this?
Good question. I was always involved, loved anything involving crime. But it's going to sound crazy, but I always did a lot of cooking shows.
Difference.
I know.
More
okay, I saw you laugh.
More controllable.
Yeah. No, I like cooking shows. It's just, it was not what I was expecting you to say in regards to your prior career.
I was involved with Magical Elves, the company that produces it, for years. I did 7 seasons of Top Chef. And Nan Straight, who was the producer before me, we worked together on Top Chef. And did you know Catherine Vaughn also did? She didn't do Top Chef, but she did competition reality with Magical Elves. So I know that sounds crazy, but there actually is no way to prepare the show. There's nobody that can just slot themselves into this. I think it's a personality thing where you kind of have to just be this is going to be a humble brag. But
Zach, here's the funny thing. So they're used to being able to control their environment and their world, their logistics,
and we can't.
And there's no control here. You never know where a witness is going to live. You never know what a cop is going to want to do that day. You never know what the weather's going to be like when we have to go 3 hours.
You have to give up control. And I think it's a personality thing where we have to deal with crew, and law enforcement.
And witnesses and suspects.
So you kind of have to be a little bit loosey-goosey. It's a personality thing. And it's also a little bit of a mama. I constantly am telling cops, did you pee? Do you have your gun? Do you have it's really hard. It's more of a personality thing. But I had to train on 4 episodes. And I was thinking about this today. Kelly, 6 or 7 episodes in, was I think you're finally starting to get the hang of it, and I think you like it. And I was it was such a nice thing to say, but I was oh God, I'm just getting the hang of it.
I wouldn't want her job. I would not want her job.
But 19 episodes in, I'm still you have to kind of just be
roll with the flow.
Roll with it, and you have to kind of be humble and be I don't know what you're talking about. Do you remember LNU?
Yes. Everybody does that, though.
But I didn't know that. Okay. So we do this grid with suspects and witnesses, and sometimes she'll put Kathy LNU, and I was LNU, what is that? It was last name unknown, but nobody told me that. And I thought it was LNU, what heritage is that? And you just have to kind of accept
it's a whole new world.
You just don't know. You have to accept that you don't know what you're talking about.
And remember that from the law enforcement world where I'm from, we're kind of skeptical, and that's a nice way to put it, of Hollywood people, right? So here comes this crew of Hollywood people. Liz is in charge to rural country, the South for the most part. And they have to make those people trust them and like them and feel like they had the right to be involved in working their case. And it's a really hard thing to do.
Yeah, it's weird bringing Hollywood into rural. Mm-hmm. And they're very skeptical of us, and we do our best to make them comfortable. And usually within day 1, we are all together. It does involve some treats.
Yeah.
It's hard. Yeah.
It's hard.
It's hard.
And in terms of, dealing with the families of these victims, it's very sensitive subject that you're bringing up here. I mean, for both of you, how do you help put their minds at ease, as it were, and help make them comfortable with talking about this stuff?
Well, first of all, it's kind of hard to put their minds at ease because we do appreciate the fact that if we say we're coming to work this case with your detective that you've known for a couple of years, everybody understands what's on the line. If we don't solve it, it's going back on the shelf, right? So this is it. This is the last big try and solve the case. So the pressure is definitely on us, but we can't ever promise them that we know how it's going to end. So we try to always keep it realistic, keep their expectations real. And oh my God, then when we don't live up to those expectations, because you know they still have them, it's terrible. It's horrible to have to give the bad news. There's no faking about that difficult day.
Right. In terms of putting the show together, how involved are each of you? I mean, once everything's been shot, how involved are each of you in, putting the show together for broadcast?
Oh, once it goes to post?
Yes, that's right.
It's actually helpful. It's hard because I'm so involved. Like, we know what we saw in the field, and you have a little tunnel vision. I think that when we see the cut, we're always a little surprised at the way.
But you're putting the show together before we even start in your head. That's the thing about her job that I don't understand and don't get, that she's already thinking of the story of the show before we even interview the first witness.
Yeah, I mean, we have a wonderful post EP named Scott Patch, who I'll always work with to be like, this is how it's going to lay out, and then we think it always changes, but and I try to find out the best way, like, how can I explain this? Like, how can I do this crime scene better? How can I explain what happened better? So we try to do that, and then he takes it, and we do what we do in the field, and it's always changing.
And the stuff that they like in post are not the things that I want, because I want it to be about how strong the case is, because I want the DA to see the show and go, oh my God, what a great case. Let's go. And all those points don't always make the show, which is always a frustrating thing for me.
That's when we fight the most,
yes,
probably.
It is. And that'll never stop.
No. Yeah, I get crazy emails from her, and it's terrible.
Sorry.
I know, but I get your point. Yeah. I understand it. But yeah.
Because we only have 41 minutes. Is that how long the show is?
It's like 41, 42 minutes. Yeah.
That's not enough for all that we do. I wish people could see all that we really do. And then when we get the comments about, why didn't y'all DNA test that? Or why? We're like, we did everything.
I know. That's what's really frustrating, is like a lot of the cases that we have are from like the mid 90s-ish. And DNA was not recorded. Like, it wasn't the same thing it is now.
Yeah. And it's not going to solve those cases.
So we always submit it. We try to get the DNA going, but people get frustrated because we don't get results from it.
Right. Well, let me ask you this too. I mean, how does doing a show like this, you mentioned a general distrust from law enforcement towards Hollywood.
It's not that bad.
No, but I'm joking. But I mean, how does, having a show like this, help you in your work, Kelly?
I think it just makes you, personally, it makes you more appreciative and sadder and more scared. I mean, you can't go all across this country and see the horrible things to happen to good people for no reason and it not change you.
Mm-hmm.
It changes you, right? You're a different person than you were a year ago.
For sure. And I think everybody on the show, you wouldn't have taken the show. Like, nobody on the crew would have taken it if they weren't used to the subject matter. But it does change you, for sure. Yeah.
Career-wise, I don't think it's changed me much because I'm doing what I've always done.
Yeah,
they just get in the way sometimes. No, it's personally, it just keeps on making you think about how lucky you are.
I mean, I've been thinking about it a lot in the last week, coming up on this. I think I've learned a lot about, like, I was living in a bubble, like, we're in Hollywood. Like,
you still kind of do.
I know, I'm in a bubble. I get it. But the show has made me see things that I never would have understood, like the meth crisis, the opioid crisis. Like, I feel like I've seen America. We go to places that are not on anyone's bucket lists.
Holiday Inn Express.
That's we're in kind of rough places. So I think what's been great for me is I've seen America in the way that I kind of needed to understand what's happening now.
Yeah.
Well, certainly your show has done a good job of doing that for everyone who watches it. So thank you both so much for that. And, congratulations on another great season.
Thank you, Zach.
Thanks.
You're welcome. And thanks to all of you at home for watching. Make sure you click the like and subscribe button below, and make sure you visit us at goldderby.com for all the latest award show news. Thank you.
Thank you.